Good to have you with us, folks. This is the Ed Schultz Radio Show, Hour 2 on the Wednesday edition, on the heels of what was I wouldn't say a big Republican night. It was for one guy, and that's Rick Santorum. He's got now more real estate. I don't know about the delegates, but he's got more real estate right now than anybody else, and that would be Iowa, that would be Minnesota, Missouri, and Colorado. He got 3 of those states last night. Richard Viguerie joins us. He is the chairman of the conservativehq.com, one of the longest-lasting conservative activists on the face of the earth. How's that for an intro, Mr. Viguerie?
I'm going to have to think about that. I'll get back to you on that, Ed.
All right. Well, you are, what, 50-some years in the conservative movement?
50 years and counting.
There you go.
Oh, it was a fabulous night for Rick Santorum, of course. And, Ed, your audience heard it first on the Ed Schultz Show, because I've been singing this song for a couple of months now.
Yes, you have. And I asked you, and you said, well, Ed, I just didn't see him.
Yeah,
because
good memory.
Yeah,
he was standing there in broad daylight.
Yeah, he was on the when there was about a bunch of them up there running for president. He was always on the end of the debate line, and you made the comment that you just didn't see him. I saw Santorum in action in Iowa, and I thought this guy's going to be tough to beat if anybody throws some money behind him. But his retail politics has worked again in 3 more states, and I don't know, what does this do, Mr. Viguerie, to the race as you see it?
Well, I think it's a 3-person race, and I've said this on your show numerous times, Ed, and one of the things that people are confused about is that you hear it all the time, the one with the most delegates wins. Not so. The one with the most votes in Tampa, Florida, next August wins, okay? But I have said, numerous times that this is going to be a brokered convention. You've got a big segment of the Republican Party that says no way to Mitt Romney, and almost an equal number that say the same thing with Gingrich. And while Rick Santorum is not probably most Republican voters' first or second choice, he is somebody that they can live with. He's acceptable. I can't think of anybody that says no way to Rick Santorum. And he's very, very acceptable to all 4 wings of the Republican Party. Or 4
give me those
legs.
4. Give me those 4 wings.
The 4 legs. There used to be 3. Now there are 4. Social issues, national defense conservatives, and economic conservatives. And the 4th is maybe even bigger than the other 3 these days, and that's the Tea Party movement. And they are unfettered from traditional Republican politics. They're independent of the Washington establishment. So Rick Santorum, the last conversation I had with him before the campaign launched, I was telling him this very thing right here about the 4 legs, and conservative Tea Party people were the 4th leg. And I can see them beginning to come together. You'll see a lot of it happening this week at CPAC in Washington, D.C., where 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 conservatives come together every year. And a lot of events are taking place for Santorum, and I think he might end up with the conservative movement behind him as a base for the first time in this campaign, and I can see that happening in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
The CPAC...
His number one problem...
Yeah, go ahead.
His number one thing he's got to do at this point right now, above everything else, is money. If the money comes in, he's going to be the nominee.
If the money comes in, he'll be the nominee?
Absolutely. If he can be competitive, he can get his message out there and answer the attacks that he knows is going to come from the Romney wing of the party. I mean, they have almost unlimited money, and they're going to now spend a lot of that money on Santorum, and so he's got to be have the resources to respond to that. And if the money comes in, the Republican Party is a conservative party. It is right of center. So consequently, if that message gets out that this is the candidate that the conservative movement has come behind, and we're beginning to see that strongly in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Lots of events are happening and taking place that will, I think, end up with the conservative movement coming behind, together behind him.
Mr. Richard Viguerie with us here on the Ed Schultz Radio Show. He's been in the conservative movement for some 50 years and has called a lot of things right for those folks that follow that ideology. What's wrong with Mitt Romney in the middle of the country? Well, why? I mean, he scored worse last night in Minnesota than he did in 2008. I mean, some political experts are saying that this is a complete rejection of Mitt Romney. He may have the money, but he's got to have the money to do what he's doing because nobody believes in what he's doing.
Well, it's interesting. The more people learn about Mitt Romney, the worse he does. You're exactly right. He's been stuck, Ed, for 5.5 years. He's been stuck at 25%, and he can't go beyond that. And the more he communicates with people, the more people say, "I don't think so." I think he's got a ceiling on him. He's not going to be able to go above that ceiling. And the thing is, he's got going for him is electability. And we've seen recently the polls show that Santorum is more electable in November than is Romney. And if that permeates out there among Republican voters, Romney's history.
Why is the enthusiasm gap what it is? Why aren't there more Republicans flocking to the polls?
Well, for one thing, the Republican Party is a conservative party, and none of the candidates have really connected with the conservative voters. They really haven't. And I think now if Santorum gets a bigger microphone and he has access to the public in a way that he hasn't, as you said, he's at the end of the debate line there, and people didn't really get a chance to focus on him. He was kind of hiding out there in daylight. They saw him, but they didn't see him. And if he gets a chance to tell his message, I think people will turn out and vote for him. But so far, people don't see a movement conservative. And in my lifetime, Ed, conservative movement has thrown up two successful candidates who come from our ranks, Barry Goldwater, Ronald Reagan. And Rick Santorum could be that third candidate, because as long as he's been in politics, I've known him, and that's true of most all conservative leaders. We know Rick. He goes to our meetings. He's in our strategy sessions. I mean, he walks into a room with 80, 100 conservatives. He's going to know most everybody there by their first name. And if he's got the resources, it looks like he could beat Obama. I think he's going to be the nominee. And he's got to do those two things. He's got to, one, get money. He gets money, gets his message out to the public, and he will be seen as somebody that can beat Obama in the fall. And if that happens, he will be the nominee.
And what's the second thing he's got to do beyond the money?
Well, he's got to communicate to the American people that he is a principled conservative.
Well, I mean, there's people believing him in the states that he's won last night. He did the retail politics thing, and it's interesting in an age where there's money flying all over the place. The guy that doesn't have very much money and the resources of everybody else is the guy who's winning. And I mean, right. I think conservatives are saying, okay, this is the most conservative guy in the pack. Let's go with him. I mean, I went to this Newt event the other night in Minneapolis, and most of the people I talked to, they weren't sold. They were searching, but it was not for Romney. I mean, they didn't want the people that were going to see Newt Gingrich the other night. They were going to see Newt Gingrich. They weren't totally sold, but they were searching for something other than Romney. And I must have interviewed about 20 people, and you get a good flavor of the room. And Newt comes in, goes to the stage, waves, gives a speech, and walks out the door, does no retail politics at all. And I thought, this is a 180 from the way Santorum does it. I don't think this is going to play very well. And I knew that Santorum was going to do well last night. The polls were showing it, but you just sense it with the folks out there. Now, tell me about the CPAC convention coming up this weekend. How pivotal could this be for Santorum? I mean, this is his crowd, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's his crowd. It'll be pivotal. I don't know if it'll be pivotal. It'll be important, Ed, because he will be able to meet and greet conservative leaders, not only at the national level, but at the state and local level. There'll be 8,000, 9,000, maybe even 10,000 people in Washington there this weekend. And, most of them have never, talked to Santorum. They've never had a chance to shake his hand, take his measure. And I think I know he's set aside a lot of time to spend one-on-one with conservatives leaders. And he presses the flesh, gets to do that retail politics. Rick Santorum is an easy person to like. I heard recently
if you're a conservative.
Beg pardon?
If you're a conservative.
If you're a conservative. Well, if you're not a liberal, I think you're just the average, American grassroots type conservatives. You got a normal life. You're not like you and I. You're not consumed with politics. What's not to like about Rick Santorum? Good family man. He's easy to talk to. Always got a warm smile. And people connect with him. And we saw it. There have been 7 states, Ed, who have had caucuses or primaries. Santorum has run a majority of those states. He's won 4 out of 7. I mean, when you begin to think about that, we say, wow, we got to take another look at this guy here. He won 4 out of 7 states, and we're just getting started. So if the money is there, I think, this is...
Well, Romney...
I don't know if it's going to be a horse race. I think Santorum could run away with this thing.
You think Santorum could run away with it? Well, he's going to have to run...
You just talked about how the voters out there are looking for somebody, and there's nobody left that's hiding out there.
But he's going to have to swim through a sea of money that's going to be falling from the sky for Mitt Romney, because Romney's going to do the same thing to Santorum that he did to Gingrich in Florida. He's going to do it to him in Michigan, going to do it to him in Arizona. Now, if the conservatives get together, they're going to have to get together fast, because February 28th will be upon us before you know it. And so this is the critical time for Santorum, because if he can win one of those 2 states, he could have a big Super Tuesday. But, I mean, it is the money thing right now. What do you think his super PAC will come alive with money?
I think the chances there, I can't say, Ed, that it's going to happen, but I know some of the money people out there, and there's a lot of money on the left and the right. And if they see that Santorum is somebody that can beat Obama, and right now it's getting to be very questionable whether Romney, can run a competitive race against Obama.
Yeah, okay.
Republicans are getting nervous about that. And
so
Santorum's the last guy standing.
All right. So could last night have been the beginning of the end for Romney?
I'm not sure I'd say it quite that way. It's certainly the beginning of the beginning for Rick Santorum. This puts him, on the stage with Romney. I think Gingrich is going to fade sooner than later, and I think it's going to be a 2-person race between Romney and Santorum. Mm. So it certainly is the beginning of a really major Santorum campaign, and I think from here on out, going to be a lot of doubts about the viability, electability of Mitt Romney.
Richard Viguerie, great to have you with us. Always a pleasure. 50-year conservative activist in this country. This is probably the only radio show in America where you can get a lefty and a righty that can actually talk to one another like this. Chairman of Conservative, you bet. Chairman of ConservativeHQ.com.